Welcome back to the channel, my friends. Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man, and today we're taking a look at the Grotmas calendar, day 12, HERETIC ASTARTES. This video is sponsored by CMO Games. More on that later. Grotmas calendar, day 12, the naughty list beckons. The Primogener has been very generous with his gifts this Grotmas, and nowhere is this more apparent than in the new detachment for the Chaos Space Marines, Creations of BILE. Abhorrent warbands of augmented Chaos Space Marines, the Creations of BILE display the depths of the Primogenator's dark genius. Whether devoted to Fabius Bile's search for the prized specimens and forbidden knowledge, or bartered to ambitious warlords in return for great riches, these warriors are augmented beyond the gene-smiting and warp-born mutations, so as to expand the web of the Clone Father's sinister influence. Each new experiment that the Spider undertakes is intended to improve upon the works of the Corpse Emperor and render the transhuman form of a Space Marine more lethal. In battle, his creations utilize their enhanced strength, speed, aggression, and endurance to weather fields of killing fire, plunge into the midst of the enemy, and tear their victims apart, even as the genetic mutations begin to overwhelm their altered forms. Experimental augmentations allow Chaos Space Marines to enhance their infantry units, either with a single augmentation chosen by the player or with two randomly generated augmentations. With these modifications, Chaos Space Marines can be made faster, more ferocious, or even harder to kill. Enhancements provide huge benefits for those willing to undergo the surgeries of Bile's Chirurgeon. Prime Subject, for example, makes a combat master out of any character, with rerolls to hit and increased damage. For the truly power-hungry, the Delayed Mutation Stratagem allows a second or third augmentation on a unit, though the recipients might find that you can't have too much of a good thing. Alright, so let's check out the new Creations of BILE detachment. Creations of BILE. So keep in mind you will still have the HERETIC ASTARTES faction rule, which is going to be your dark packs. You'll have the ability to grant your unit either lethal or sustained hits for the phase, but you do have to take a leadership test. You get it either way, but if you fail, you take some mortal wounds. So the detachment rule is experimental augmentations. At the start of the battle, select which augmentations are active for HERETIC ASTARTES infantry models, excluding damned models, from your army until the end of the battle. To do so, either select one from the list below or randomly determine two by rolling 2d6. If Fabius Bile is your warlord, when randomly determining your augmentations, you can re-roll one or both of the dice. Duplicated augmentations have no additional effects. So you can either pick one and it will affect all your HERETIC ASTARTES infantry units, excluding damned, so cultists and the likes like that will not gain this benefit. And then if you have Fabius Bile as your warlord, which presumably you would, you can re-roll either one or both of the dice. So pick one or roll two, and then if you have Fabius Bile as your warlord, you can re-roll either or both of the random ones. So a dice roll of 1 will grant you cholinergic accelerants. Add 1 to the attacks characteristic of melee weapons equipped by this model. 2. Hyperadrenal infusion. Add 2 to the move characteristic of this model. 3. Paraneural reactions. Improve the weapon skill characteristic of melee weapons equipped by this model by 1. 4. Supracutinous chitination. Improve the toughness characteristic of this model by 1. 5. Macrotensile sinews. Add 1 to the strength characteristic of melee weapons equipped by this model. And then 6. Ophthalmic enhancement. Improve the ballistic skill characteristic of range weapons equipped by this model by 1. Alright, so very good. You have the ability to gain 1 attack, 2 move, 1 weapon skill, 1 toughness, 1 strength, or 1 ballistic skill. And then you could potentially have 2 of these at random or just select the one you like the best. I think if you're going for pure damage output, the attacks is probably the way to go. Obviously, if you're going for speed, the +2 move, especially if you're using stuff that can advance and charge. And then if you're going for durability, toughness is very good. But if you're a more combat army, you could always do weapon skill, or if you're a more shooty army, you could do ballistic skill. And then the strength could be good too. If you're going up against Space Marines where everything in your army is strength 4, it's basically +1 to wound, or any other opportunity when you're going to have like some key breakpoints. So then we have our enhancements. First is surgical precision, 10 points. HERETIC ASTARTES model, excluding damned models only. The bear's melee weapons have the precision ability. Then we have living carapace, 15 points. Chaos Lord model only. Add 1 to the bear's wound characteristics, and the bear has a feel no pain of 5 up. Helm of all seeing, 25 points. HERETIC ASTARTES infantry model, excluding damned models only. Enemy units that are set up on the battlefield from reserves cannot be set up within 12 inches of the bearer. Prime test subject, 35 points. HERETIC ASTARTES infantry model, excluding damned models only. Add 1 to the damage characteristic of melee weapons equipped by the bearer. Each time the bearer makes a melee attack, you can reroll the hit roll. So some really nice enhancements right here. Precision is good for sniping out characters in melee, but that's probably the worst one. The Chaos Lord one, +1 wound, and then a 5 up feel no pain is really good. 12-inch null zone is also really good. It is just from the model though, it's not from the entire unit. so not quite as good as some of the other null abilities. And then the prime test subject, also really good, +1 to the damage and then re-rolling your hits. If you're putting that on a Chaos Lord who basically has the ability to go Nova for 1 turn, you can substantially increase their damage output. So really nice enhancements. Now a quick word from today's sponsor, CMO Games. CMO Games carries a full range of Games Workshop products including miniatures, paint, terrain, tools, and more. They take pre-orders for most Games Workshop new releases as early as possible, usually 12:01 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. CMO Games offers 15% off of MSRP for most all Games Workshop products and offer fast free shipping to the continental United States on orders over $50. Most orders ship out within 24 hours. You know their customer service is top-notch as they've been selling games online for over 20 years. Use the affiliate link below and let them know that Warhammer Man sent you. Alright, and then we have our 6 stratagems. First is Monstrous Visages, 1 command point. Your opponent's shooting phase or fight phase just after an enemy unit has selected its targets. 1 HERETIC ASTARTES infantry unit from your army that was selected as a target of 1 or more of the attacking unit's attacks. Until the end of the phase, each time the attack targets your unit, subtract 1 from the hit roll. So 1 command point, shooting or combat, -1 to be hit. Not bad. Masters are watching, 1 command point, fight phase, just after an enemy unit has selected its targets. Target 1 HERETIC ASTARTES infantry unit from your army that was selected as a target of 1 or more of the attacking unit's attacks. Effect, until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit is destroyed. If that model has not fought this phase, roll a d6, subtracting 1 from the result if it is a damned unit. On a 4-up, do not remove it from play. The destroyed model can fight after the attacking unit has finished making its attacks. It is then removed from play. Alright, so we have a 4-up fight on death, but if it's a damned unit, it's a 5-up fight on death. And then we have Delayed Mutations, 2 command points, your command phase. 1 HERETIC ASTARTES infantry unit excluding damned from your army. Effect, your unit suffers a d3 mortal wounds, then select 1 augmentation. Until the start of the next command phase, models in your unit have the selected augmentation in addition to any other augmentations they have. Alright, so you do this in your command phase. It is 2 command points. You also take a d3 mortal wounds, but then you gain that augmentation for the entire battle round. So you could potentially already have 1 chosen augmentation or 2 that you rolled for. This would give your unit a 3rd augmentation, which could be absolutely insane. And just some of the crazy combos you could do. Obviously, you could have BILE already attached to a unit, and then that entire unit, including BILE, is going to gain this ability. Plus, he already gives them special abilities. You could do something like Abaddon the Despoiler attached to a 10-man Terminator brick or 10 chosen. Take a d3 mortal wounds on that chosen unit and then buff Abaddon and the entire unit. I mean, this could get pretty crazy. And then we have Diabolic Regeneration, 1 command point. Your command phase, 1 HERETIC ASTARTES infantry unit, excluding damned units from your army. Effect, 1 destroyed model, excluding character models, is returned to your unit. If your unit is battle line unit, a d3 destroyed models, excluding character models, are returned to your unit instead. Okay, so very good. You can't target damned with this, but for 1 command point, you can either bring back 1 model, or if it's a battle line unit, a d3 models. So you bring back like 1 chosen or 1 Terminator, or like a d3 legionaries. So very, very good. Definitely some nice stratagems here. All right, and next we have Specimens for the Spider, 2 command points. When your fight phase, target 1 HERETIC ASTARTES infantry unit from your army that has not been selected to fight this phase. Effect, until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes a melee attack that targets a character unit, you can reroll the wound roll. After your unit has fought, if 1 or more enemy character models were destroyed as a result of these attacks, select 1 enemy unit within 6 inches of your unit. That enemy unit must take a battle shock test. If the enemy warlord was destroyed as a result of those attacks, each enemy unit within 6 of this unit must take a battle shock test. So 2 command points to reroll wounds in the fight phase. Not bad. You do have quite a few stipulations though. You have to be fighting a character unit. And then if you kill the character, you force a battle shock test. And then if the character you killed was their warlord, you force a battle shock test on everything within 6. So reroll wounds for 2 command points, kind of pricey. Most of the time when you want this, you're probably going to be going against the character unit, but you're not going to be able to use it on stuff like vehicles or non-character units. Forcing a battle shock test is good. Forcing a battle shock test on everything within 6 is even better. So I think realistically, if you're going up against your enemy's warlord and there's quite a few other units within 6, there's probably a good possibility that you're going to kill that warlord. That's when you're going to spend the 2 and pop the strat. And then last but not least, we have Auto Stimulants, 1 command points. Start of the charge phase. 1 HERETIC ASTARTES infantry unit from your army. Till the end of the turn, your unit is eligible to declare a charge in a turn in which it advanced. Alright, so you already have some advance and charge stuff in the book like the Chosen. But say you have a couple legionary squads, you want to go for a long bomb charge, you advance with them, pick which one got the highest advance, and then in your charge phase you can pop this strat. So not bad. So overall, this is a super flavorful detachment. Creations of BILE is pretty awesome though. It has some really nice enhancements. The actual detachment rule is really nice. It's going to let you basically pick your buff or randomly take 2 buffs. You also have the ability to re-roll the 2 dice if you go for the randomness. If Fabius Bile's your warlord, which presumably he would be, I think the only place you would run into problems is, I think if you take Abaddon the Despoiler, he has to be your warlord. So that could be a limiting factor. But overall, really nice enhancements, pretty good stratagems. I gotta say, this is a pretty cool detachment and definitely very appealing. It is super flavorful, but I think it's also pretty competitive. So let me know if you like the idea of this detachment. If you're a Chaos player out there, what you think of this competitively or just flavorfully. Always like to hear back from you guys in the comments. And as always, special thanks to CMO Games for sponsoring the channel. Check out the link in the description to save 15% on most Games Workshop products. And make sure to tell them that Warhammer Man sent you. Warhammer Man Studios, I'm Warhammer Man, and I'm loving the creations of BILE. And I'm out of here.